everybody. Welcome to our March Database Security Office Hours on the Ask Tom platform. My name is Richard Evans, and I'm your host and kind of MC today. Nazia is going to present on Audit Vault and Database Firewall, so she's the product manager of that. We'll have her give the main presentation. This call is being recorded, and it will be available on the Ask Tom platform, probably about 10 days after the event. So you can look at our recordings from past events at bit.ly/AskTomDBSec. We've got over 3 years of presentations out there. So if there's a database security topic that you're interested in, you can probably find it on there. If there's one we haven't covered, feel free to drop me a line. I'll send my email in the chat, or you can ask it in the Q&A section. We're always looking for new topics, new ideas. So if you've not been here before, welcome. This is the second Wednesday presentation we do every month on database security topics. We do announcements, and then we have a main presentation, and then some time at the end for some questions and answers. You can register using that QR code or go to bit.ly/AskTomDBSec if you're not signed up for our reminder emails about this session. Announcements this month. I try to put all of the links and things we talk about this month on our GitHub page. So there's a QR code to that. You can go to github.com/auradbsec/AskTomDBSecurity, and I'll share that link here in the chat for those who are coming in. That way you don't have to try to write these links down or, remember them or anything. We want those to be available to you. So if you go back and watch any of the videos, you'll have access to them. I think I've been doing this since about last summer. So almost a year. So you can go back and look at the notes for the different videos there. Patching was released back in January. There's going to be another patch set coming out here in April. We talk about this every month just because patching is important. Bug fixes, security updates, minor feature releases, things like that. Check out oracle.com/security-alerts, or there's a couple of my Oracle support notes there on proactive patching, recommended one-off patches. If you haven't checked out Fleet Patching and Provisioning and you are a real application customer, a RAC user, then check out Fleet Patching and Provisioning. Hopefully that can make your patching life a little easier for database and grid infrastructure. And then, as always, Mike Dietrich's blog is a great source of information on what's going on with patching on Oracle database. Okay. DataSafe is now available in GovCloud West and GovCloud East. So if you haven't used Oracle DataSafe yet, you should check it out. It's our kind of security assessment, auditing, monitoring, masking capability for cloud databases as well as on-premise databases. Some updates that Bettina passed along for DataSafe include we now have support for autonomous database on Exadata Cloud at Customer. That's kind of the one remaining piece that we were missing to support Oracle Cloud databases virtually everywhere. So you can use that DataSafe, like you can use the private endpoint. You can use Fast Connect, VPN Connect. You can use the on-prem DataSys connector there. So they've done a lot of work here to integrate the DataSafe users and the capabilities with cloud, with Exadata Cloud at Customer, and it's just getting better. So it's a great service. Tina also has some new reports that are available out here too. So common user activity, so your C## users or your users coming from the CDB root, we can take a look at that. There's a predefined audit report for them. Database errors like your Aura, I think this shows a 1017 on the page here. So we can see some of these Oracle related error messages we might be picking up. Data extraction type of jobs too, whether it's a data pump or an RMAN. Customers have said, hey, we want to know when some of this data extraction activity is going on. And then sensitive data activity. So if we've done the sensitive data discovery on a database, and we've got this sensitive data model, then we can look at activity related to that sensitive data that's going on across all your sensitive data models, all of your fleet databases that are monitored by Oracle DataSafe. So lots of good things going on with Oracle DataSafe today. There's also some advanced filtering here that's going on too. Let me start this video here. Before we had the ability to kind of do like, okay, you can create some AND filters. They've introduced this skim query language here too. So you can do OR operators as well. So you can build, audit event times and things, OR things. So lots of advanced capability here that DataSafe has added in the last 60 days or so. Okay. And then I think the last thing on DataSafe here is Audit Insights Dashboard. So if we're going to ask some common questions we want to see what we can get out of that. So like, for example, if we're using unified audit and we've got different policies, which one of those policies is generating kind of the most audit activity? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I can't decide, but at least you have that information then to decide like, okay, we're doing a lot of auditing here. Maybe we don't need to do so much. Which targets are generating the most audit data? Again, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but at least we have some insight into this, which objects are accessed to most with auditing. So good things in a dashboard that kind of allow you to dig a little deeper in there and understand like, okay, this is my culprit database here. It's generating a lot of audit data. Could we create a more refined unified audit policy to capture the data that we're really looking for rather than kind of capturing everything? Okay. As always, we've got a new version of the database security LiveLabs out there. That was version 5. We talked about it last month with Hakeem. But always check out LiveLabs. We're always releasing new labs. I've got one that I'm working on right now on TLS. So setting up Oracle TLS for your database here. And we're going to do TLS, MTLS, as well as like certificate-based authentication. So some really cool things we're going to be adding to the Database Security Live Lab in the coming months here. So easy to deploy. You can run it in our Oracle Live Lab sandbox. So you can take advantage of it. You don't have to spin up any of your resources. You can go through these labs and learn something new about Oracle Database Security, as well as like 800 other labs that are out there as well. So good stuff. Oracle 23C is going to be the next long-term release here of the Oracle database. Beta 1 is going on. Beta 2 is about to start for it. If you want to be involved in the Oracle beta testing for 23C, you can apply at tinyurl.com/Oracle beta. Get a look at what's coming up in the next release. So really exciting stuff in 23C. All right, Nazia, I think that is all I have here. Let me give you control.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Here I'm again after a few months talking about Audit Vault and Database Firewall. With every dot release, we try to catch up and we try to, tell our customer that what all is coming in this particular release update or a dot release. So this time we will talk about how AVDF 20 journey we took and what were the most important features, I would say that, or the favorite ones of mine, or I feel that those are the ones which add value at customer, would add value to you, as well as we will talk about some very exciting features of RU9. RU9 is like a feature-packed release. So I will give you a sneak preview of that, and I'll show you how does it look and all that. So I'll show you a demo, but disclaimer here, RU9 is still not yet generally available. We are just around the corner. It's just right there. So once the final product is released, you might see a little bit changes, but 95%, I assume it will remain same. So Audit Vault Database Firewall, it's a single pane of glass for database activity monitoring. And we are taking it to just not only for database activity monitoring, but we are taking it to beyond that. Okay, and what that beyond I will cover. Safe harbor statement, because RU9 is not yet released. So I'm putting that. Okay, so from the agenda perspective, we will cover some top use cases for AVDF 20, the popular one, and then followed by top enhancement. We did till now, till RU8. And then we will talk about a sneak preview of RU9, what are the new features, what they do, what are their values, demonstration, and then finally call to action. Okay, so top 5 use cases from the AVDF perspective or any database activity monitoring perspective. When we talk to different customer from different regulatory compliance perspective or their internal regulations, etc., they feel that these are the most important ones. One is that what privileged users are doing on your most important data, okay? You might have organizations are generating trillions of data now, but the important part is there are some data which are very important, which might have your PI information or financial information or some health record, depending on which industry do you belong to or which regulation you have to follow or what your internal audit control says. So sensitive data, especially what privileged users are doing on that, because when you are accessing through application, you have kind of authenticated, authorized that particular user, and you see what you're supposed to see. But privileged users of your databases, that database is open to them, right? So you need to figure out what exactly they are doing. So that's a very important use case that everyone is talking about. Then the other one I have seen more from the audit perspective is like value change reporting. Like what was the value, before, after value in common language, we say that. That's more from the compliance perspective. And entitlements, what different user has access to, what role they have, what privileges they have, who has granted which privilege, etc. So looking at like who is a powerful user in your system and how then so that you can decide that what control you want to put on those particular highly privileged or highly powerful users. The other one is that data exfiltration is quite popular use case where you really want to know if someone is trying to access a lot of data that usually they don't do it. So it could be from backend or from application, etc. So data exfiltration is one of the, I would say, that popular use case and the concern for our most of the customers. Other part is that trusted path to application. So it's kind of connected with one use case one, because trusted path to application is like, that I want, if application user is connecting through application, there are certain ways they are being authenticated, authorized, and then finally they are going to the application. So I want to create a trusted path to application. If anyone try to access my application data by any other mean, by any other route, by any other path, then you kind of, want to monitor such kind of activity or control such kind of activity. And finally, like access to any unauthorized data or sequels by any unauthorized users. So I might not supposed to have access to those sensitive data or those sensitive sequels which are running on the system. So controlling access to such kind of data and SQL. So all these 5 use cases you can cut across, you can monitor, you can detect, and then finally maybe you can protect if you need to be. So these are the 5, I would say, popular use cases that our customers are interested in. This is more from our discussion with different customers. So AVDF 20 till now, it's been released, it's been more than 2 years since it's been released, and it had been I would say that journey of innovations and enhancements and improvements, and we are doing RU by RU. We are improving a lot of every RU has a number of bugs that we fix that maybe maybe counted maybe listed by our or found by our customers, or internally we have found. So we fix those RUs, those bugs in every RU, as well as we do feature enhancements along with security patches for our embedded database and operating system. So it's been quite a journey, I would say that, and it's a continuous journey of improvements and enhancements. Some of enhancement which I would like to talk about until RU8, for example. So we did, when we release RU1 or a major release of AVDF 20, we started with adding new targets like auditing for Postgres, REST, JSON, MongoDB, etc. For before after value, we move from Oracle Stream to Golden Gate integration type. And then remote agent deployment we started with. These were the major ones, we revamped like entire UI itself in AVDF 20. But when we moved to 4 to 6 RU, I would say that 4, 5, 6, our major focus was to stabilize our solution. So if there are a lot of bugs coming from customer or found internally, fixing those bugs, so make that solution more stable. However, we did focus on certain new flavors of databases, let's say autonomous databases, or 21C was released. We did focus on the compliance requirements. So a lot of regulations started saying that whatever the system or application you are saying you are using, it should be FIPS 140-2, for example, enabled, etc. So we started supporting that. We started giving a stick compliant audit policy for Oracle databases. We started supporting a lot of AV agent, Audit Vault agent improvements, because a lot of customers were facing issues around that. What if agent goes down, or it is unreachable and all that? And so a lot of customers were also facing issues from upgrading from one RU to another RU. So we introduced pre-upgrade checks, and we are adding more and more checks by RU. Then 7, 8, we were kind of, until RU6, we were quite stable. So we started talking about more new features. So one was very popular, that are a lot of Oracle database customers, they started using TLS encryption. So from the database firewall perspective, how we can understand those encrypted traffic. So we started supporting TLS encrypted traffic from Oracle database, from database firewall perspective. A lot of customers were asking for read-only auditor kind of a role, so we started supporting that, along with some import-export of database firewall policy. Or a lot of customers were asking, I would like to know what exactly happening on my Audit Vault server internal databases. Okay, so we came up with Shadow Audit Vault server. So I had one session around I think a sneak on RU8, but here more I'm clubbing like our entire journey of AVDF 20 from RU1 to RU8, which is current RU available. And let's talk about some of them which are very popular from the enhancement perspective. And I would say that these are the key differentiators. So first one, I would say that read-only auditor, it's a very important feature. A lot of customers see value in this and have started using it. TLS support was another one, because we had a lot of Oracle database customers and they were using database firewall. So we are kind of, so AVDF is not a reason for them to hold back and use TLS encryption or stay on any, for example, native network encryption kind of a architecture of Oracle database. Monitoring of active data guard standby databases. So Active Data Guard is becoming popular day by day, and a lot of customers, they are doing monitoring on their standby systems, and they wanted AVDF also to support that with much lesser complexity. So earlier we could do that, but we had to manage individual target as a, so every node in that Active Data Guard farm we used to consider as a single node. Okay, so there could be a duplication of audit records or a more cumbersome process to configure it. But with this, we have made it much simpler. They don't really need to make their standby into read-write mode. We can just monitor when it is just in read-only mode. So that's giving a lot of value, because we have a lot of customers who are using ADG and they would like to use AVDF along with that. So AVDF policy import-export was another feature that are some very large customers who are using database firewall across the globe. So they wanted this to be, policies should be easily imported and exported rather than taking an entire backup and recovery of the system, because they were testing some database firewall policy and applying to different environment, etc. So we came up with this feature. And finally, I would say Shadow Audit Vault server that I have already discussed. So read-only auditor, it's a very quick to deploy. You can just go log in as an admin user and create auditor. You assign the role to that particular user as a read-only auditor. You can assign targets to that particular you can assign a group of target or a single target to your read-only auditor that you have created. And once that read-only auditor will log in, he will have access to the auditor dashboard. But you will notice that here, this particular user cannot modify or edit anything. You will see there is no policy tab here. Generally, auditor has that tab. So they can see the data from whatever targets they are authorized to. And they can see alerts from there. They can see reports from there and the list of targets, etc. So think about, you have an audit coming up and an auditor is coming. So it's really a very self-service kind of environment. It becomes a very self-service kind of environment for you. You create a auditor, you create a read-only auditor and give him access, and he has all the data. So for example, if you have a PCI audit going on or a SOX audit going on, and whatever the targets are, group of that particular compliance, you can just give them access to those particular ones, and they have all the data and the alerts and everything available for them, and they can slice and dice and use different filters and figure out whatever they want to see. So less dependent on you, and it's more a self-service, so less cumbersome for auditor and you, and less time. So it's a very, I would say, good management of your ongoing audits. It also kind of improves separation of duties. So for example, whosoever manages AVDF environment in your organization, and let's say database team needs access to see what activities are happening on the system for their internal use. So you can just use this particular user. So it's a clear separation of duty. Any ad hoc user reporting you want, you can utilize this feature to do it. Okay, so monitoring Oracle database TLS encrypted traffic, we started doing this by deploying database firewall in proxy mode. So you can register the target, then you can here say that you want to enable TLS and what level of TLS you want to enable. You can see that. And basically, you do some set of steps. And these steps are nothing but at high level. I would say that when database firewall, you deploy, when you register a target with the Yeah, so when you register a target with TLS enabled client, what database firewall does, it's generate certificate for inbound as well as for outbound traffic. You share those respective certificates with your respective sources. For example, one with the client, the other one with the database, and as well as you share these trusted certificates from the client and the database within database firewall. Okay, so the handshake, so at end of the day, after all configuration, each system has three targets, three certificates available, and it's kind of a database firewall acts as a proxy in between to decrypt, take the action what you want, and give it back to the database and return the result of the query. So it's not very complex deployment, but you have to really carefully deploy that. So yeah, I have done it in past and given a demo around that. So it's not that complex deployment, but it's very useful when you are really using TLS encrypted traffic feature in Oracle database, and you are using database firewall as well. So you have now better visibility on those data. For active data standby databases, what you do basically, this is more from the unified audit configuration perspective, unified audit trail configuration perspective. So basically your trail location remains same. That's your audit trail. And you register target as a active data guard. And for each node, you just provide their attribute, collection attribute, which is nothing but their connection strings, and then you just add trail with a failover connection. That's your primary trail, and then you add 3 more trail where your location remains same, but your connection for each attribute becomes different. Okay, so you end up having like a 4 lines, I would say, that in your audit data collection. Let's say if it is ADG farm of 4 nodes, so you have primary and then you have 3 standby. So yeah, so you don't, the value of this particular feature is that you collect all your unified audit records from active data guard configuration standbys without putting them into the read-write mode, and you start auditing your disaster recovery sites as well. So you can easily do that. The other feature is import-export, user-defined database firewall policy. Here, I would say that use cases, we had a lot of customers, they were saying that I have database firewall policy, some requirement comes, I want to test this on my test environment, and rather than doing an entire backup recovery of my production, I just want to deploy that particular policy. I don't want to go and configure that policy on the production. It's like a complete implementation. So what I need to do is that I test that database firewall policy on my non-production environment, and then export it and import it into production. So that was one of the use case. The other use case, or it can add value. Let's say you have a AVDF deployment across geography. For example, you have some sets of databases in North America, and you have your entire AVDF set up for the databases or the targets deployed in North America. And there is another set for your other entity, which is APAC based, and you have another set of AVDF and the assigned targets for that particular geography. So you have tested some policies of database firewall from in one geography, and you want to put it to the other one, you can do that. And or you can just want to move from your private AVS instance to disaster recovery, other AVS instance. So you can, kind of export and import. It's very simple. It's more for user defined, because predefined anyways will be there anywhere you deploy. So you just click that particular policies which you want to really export it, you save it, it's password protected. So it watches any value change happens. So when you import back that particular policy, you need to pass the password, and also it checks if anything has been changed in this particular policy before importing it. So for example, somebody can just export it, go and make changes in those policy, and then go and import somewhere else. So we make sure that there are no rules or anything gets changed in between when the export and the import of the policy happens. Okay, and the final one was Shadow Audit Vault server. So what you can do that you can deploy another Audit Vault server, which we call it Shadow Audit Vault server. And for this Shadow Audit Vault server, your primary Audit Vault server becomes one of the target. Okay, so all the unified audit trail and a Linux audit trail goes to your Shadow Audit Vault server, and the reports are generated. So any embedded database changes, and so OS level auditing we enable database level auditing for the embedded database and operating system. So it's more like a ability to watch the watcher. So it's more for the backend, for the database and operating system. And most of the actions are actually recorded in the database. So you can really make out that what exactly happening in your system. For some level of application level auditing, that's not we have done right now, and we plan to introduce that capability in coming RUs. So this one becomes very important when you need to keep track of any critical activity and any critical data changes within the embedded databases. Okay, so that was about AVDF 20 till now, and let's now look at preview of 20.9. Again, before I start, I just want to let you know that release update 9 is not yet generally available. We are just there. The final blocks are we are putting together a final block. So yeah, whatever you see here, this is coming in a couple of weeks. The final product might be a little bit change, around 5% or so, but yeah, mostly I assume it will be remain same. Okay, so with RU9, we are actually completing the complete cycle of database activity monitoring and beyond. So with RU9, the first thing, so there is a saying, right? Unless you know what you want to protect and how and from whom, you can't protect that, right? And we understand that piece. So RU9 will have assessment and discovery functionality. So we are providing full-featured assessment of your Oracle database with compliance mapping, recommendations. And along with that, we are providing capability that you will be able to discover sensitive data and privileged user on your database. And you will be able to create global sets or profiles with your discovered sensitive objects or privileged users, which you can further use in your database firewall policies, for example. So once you have assess and discover that where your organization security posture is, and what are the sensitive data you have, what are the privileged user you have in your system, you would like to start monitoring it, right? And AVDF monitors all type of activities like databases, audit logs, then network-based SQLs, that's more from the database firewall perspective. Then you have operating system audits, directory, XML, CSV, REST, JSON, different basically type of targets. And we provide very powerful interactive reporting. So So it's very quick to slice and dice after an incident kind of an activity. Usually it takes a lot of time for organization if any threat happen, if any breach happen. So with the very powerful interactive reporting, you can really slice and dice data very easily with different conditions, with different filters, and you can really reach to the interest of your in the record you are interested in. So it's like a it's like a finding a needle in a haystack. So, but with powerful interactive reporting, you can achieve that. And then you can have your data exfiltration attempts can be detected, alerted as well with monitoring and reporting section. You have database auditing reports as well as database firewall network audit reports. And then once you have started monitoring your different activities on your sensitive object or privileged users or everything, whosoever you want, now you want to have your alerts generated on that, or maybe you want to finally block or protect certain activities, right? So database firewall provides control that you can implement any SQL injection threat attempts. You can control that. You can list down whatever the authorized SQLs are there in your application, and if anything apart those authorized SQLs are running in your database system, you can control that. You can stop that. You can define trusted path, that if your application is being accessed by this particular trusted path, and if not, you want to block it or you want to get alerted. So you can profile basis on your SQLs or different objects or different client IP or database user, etc. And you can define alerts with very fine-grained control or multiple conditions. So a lot of customers talk about that my database activity monitoring solution is generating a lot of alerts. I get hundreds of emails or hundreds of notifications, and I really don't know what to do with that data. So in AVDF, your alert engine is very, we have multiple parameters basis on that. You can go at very fine grain level. I always say it's like an art, that how do you really want to visualize your alert, and what different conditions you use, different permutation and combination of conditions, and you reach to the single alert that you want to minimize any false positive, and you want to reach to that single alert. So it's art. I always say that, because you really need to think about different conditions and reach there. We provide around 20 plus parameters. Basis on that, you can put your alert conditions. And finally, we do a lot of these works sometime just to, make sure that whatever the audit is happening in my organization, I pass that, I can attest the reports, etc. So AVDF provides a standard compliance reporting, for example, sensitive data access reporting, that GDPR requirement, or before after value change reporting, FIPS control, STIG compliant audit policy, etc. So one section is more focusing on the regulatory compliance and attestation of those reports. Okay, with this, keep in mind, there are top 7. We did a lot of minor and major changes. So I'm not talking about the minor ones. I'm mainly talking about the major ones. So first one is security assessment, followed by data discovery and privileged user discovery, audit insights, value change reporting for SQL Server. So before after value for SQL Server is what we are introducing with RU9. Till now, we were doing only for Oracle. So we are extending it to non-Oracle database, that's SQL Server. We are providing system alerts, framework, then out of place upgrade, and agentless collection. So let's look at them one by one. Okay, very popular one, security assessment. You might be using database DB SAT for your organization to assess your individual databases. We are introducing DB SAT for enterprise with RU9. So which means that we are using capability of DB SAT, but that's you're going to use for enterprise. So if you have hundreds of Oracle database, you can do it, those management from AVDF is, itself, and then you have a dashboard, something like this, where you say that, okay, these many targets are being assessed, these many targets are not being assessed, etc. And what are the findings and what are the risk level, etc. Okay, so so with this, with DB SAT for enterprise, you are getting a fleet-based security posture for your organization of your Oracle databases. You have a single view of your all assessed targets, and you can have your interactive reporting the way anyways you have in AVDF, right? So it will help you in taking quick action on any potential risk if it is there. The data discovery. So we are introducing in policies, you will see another tab which called data discovery. And with this, basically, we are trying to create a global sets which can be used later in the database firewall policy. So for example, you can create privileged user sets. So in backend, we are trying to utilize entitlement report capability. So we kind of list down all the privileged user, discover all the privileged user for those targets and list down that. And we also give flexibility to customer if they want to add or remove such certain kind of users. So they can do that. They can create their privileged user list. Followed by, they can then discover your sensitive objects. So that's more, again, basis on what DB SAT provides in the data discovery. So there are some hundreds of different categories or types of sensitive data that we discover, biographic data, medical data, PI data, etc. So a lot of such data are being discovered in your targets, and then you can add more objects if you want. And once you have done privileged user, step 1, and step 2, sensitive object discovery, finally, there itself, you can provide your database firewall policy. You can say that on this privileged users, these are the sets, and this is the action I would like to take, okay? So with 3 steps, you can deploy your database firewall policy. If you do not want to deploy database firewall policy, that's okay. You can just create these sets, global sets, and maybe later on you go and use these global sets and define your database firewall policy. Okay, the other feature that we introduce, Audit Insight. So one of them, so Data Safe also introduced this feature that Rich talked about it when he started his presentation. And similar kind of feature we introduce in AVDF as well, where you can know your top 5. So let's say if you're monitoring hundreds and thousands of Oracle databases, hundreds and thousands of the databases. So you really want to know that, but you are just interested on top 5. So that you can quickly respond, you can reduce the noise. You don't really want to see each and every target or each and every condition. So it's an enterprise kind of reporting where we give you that, okay, how many targets being registered, user, privileged user. So the summary here on top you will have, and then you will have your all top 5 by target, by user, by privileged user, by client host, by SQL statements, that those 5 SQL statements, by top 5 audit policy basis on the audit volumes, and these others are more basis on the activities. Then your sensitive data activity, and what were the top users, and sensitive data activity by top categories, right? Remember, we talked about different categories. So So, evaluating that by category. So this is the enterprise level of audit insight reporting that we are providing. And these are like drill down, you can go and see more data specific to those particular graphs. Okay, this is one of my favorite one that before after value I had been hearing only for Oracle, whether it's from Oracle or non-Oracle database activity monitoring solutions. They usually focus on Oracle before after reports, but with AVDF RU9, we are introducing this particular feature for SQL Server as well, because we realize that in our customer sets, after Oracle, the most popular database that they would like to monitor with AVDF is SQL Server. So it gives us a competitive advantage, definitely, and it completes, I would say that, compliance requirement, because when compliance are asking for before after value, they don't say only for Oracle. So any database you use, and SQL Server is I would say that other popular database that they use. So we are using same architecture wise is similar what we do for Oracle. We use Golden Gate capability with this. So from SQL Server, we take the change record, we give it to Golden Gate. We process that data, that change value what we have, and give it to Audit Vault server, and then we have your before and after value change reporting available. Okay. The other part what we introduce is like system alerts, right? So we did not have this capability where operational management can be improved, and your reporting of AVDF deployment can become much easier. So for example, there are passwords going to expire, there is there's a storage going to fill, or we are reaching to some threshold, etc. So those kind of a system alerts, I would say that right now with RU9 we have started something 15 to 20 categories for system alerts, and the health check jobs for this particular dashboard, and we plan to add more and more. And you can basically integrate, or it's like a open integration. Whatever these system alerts are available here, you can have it in syslog, and then maybe you can import it to your any ticketing system, though there is no backwards. So if anything get close here automatically. That's not something we are providing right now, but at least you can have those system alerts sent to your open system and ticketing system with syslog integrations. Okay, out of place upgrades. So a lot of customers were complaining that they had to for RU by RU, if they have to apply a patch, they have to take their system. They have to bear certain downtime. If there is a issue while doing this upgrade, they don't know. So with this out of place upgrade, where we are utilizing the capability of backup and recovery, you can really control or predict the downtime. Okay, so it's you can use it from AVDF version or RU upgrade. You can use it if you are moving from one hardware to any other hardware, or one data center to any data center. We make sure data remains consistent from old AVS system to the new AVS system by using Golden Gate capabilities. And so high level out of place upgrade looks like this. So you have old AVS running. What you do that you create another parallel Audit Vault server with same RU or same release, and you back up and recover. Okay. Once you have done this, what you do, so your all agent firewall, everything is pointing to your old system, right? Once it is done, what you do is that you upgrade your newly created AVS. Okay. And once you do that, what you can do is that in controlled manner, you will start moving your agent or database firewall to this particular AVS. While you are doing this particular job, there's a delta created here, right? So once you do that, there is a delta created here, there is a delta created here on the both systems. So with Golden Gate replication, you try to make both of them consistent. And at one stage, you will have both systems consistent, and you will have all your agent and firewall transferred to your new upgraded AVS, and then you can kind of get rid of your old AVS. Or you can just keep this as your read-only kind of a thing, or you can utilize for some other purpose. So this is more a controlled fashion, out-of-place upgrade workflow that we are talking about. So you can utilize this particular functionality. And finally, we have agentless collection. So with AVDF RU9, we are introducing agentless collection for Oracle databases. So you don't need to install the agent on host machine or a remote machine anywhere. So agent internally would be running inside Audit Vault server itself. Okay, so I would say that one less target to manage, and it's very useful in case of multi-cloud environment, an environment where you do not have control of installing agent on those on your target, or you don't have much resources on your target to install agent. You want to do any POC quickly, so you don't need to depend on the host machine and agent installation, etc. So you can have agentless deployment, and agent service basically internally would be running in Audit Vault server. Okay, so finally, I have like 8 minutes, Rich. So should I quickly show them?
Yeah. You want to quickly show them, and then we've got a couple of questions in the chat. Maybe we can get to.
Yeah. So let's see the dashboard. We'll see dashboard quickly.
Cool.
Okay, so this is your, when you log in with the AV admin, this is how your system alerts will come. You can go and it says different severity level and the count. So you can click on them, or you can click on the graph. You can go and see specific system alerts. You can click this on this paper icon to look at more detail, or you can just go here, and once it is fixed, you say close system alert, right? So you can do that. There are the time period that we keep that open, and let's say that issue is being fixed in the system, but you haven't closed here. So we keep it in the system for a certain time, and then we kind of archive that or remove that. Okay, and we have updated this admin dashboard, and we are giving more detail about different jobs, data retention, system overview from the uptime, CPU utilization, etc., all that. So this was not there earlier. So we are showing these also in more detail. We have added data retention tab separately, where you can manage your archive data, you can release it, online data, or you can retrieve your archive data, etc. So it's more better view of your archive data and where it is residing, etc., in which data file and all that. So better view, so that you can have a better decision around that. I would say that. Another part, I will just log in as auditor. Okay, so here we have added security assessment for Oracle databases. You have, you see how many targets are assessed, not assessed, what are the risk levels, risk by categories. So you can click on them, you can go and have your specific reports. In reporting section also, we have introduced assessment reports here as a separate tab, and you have assessment report by target, by severity, category, feature utilized, what feature of security you're using, and then the detailed report. And also we are providing assessment basis on the compliance. So for example, if some issues are there as per GDPR or as per CIS or STIG, so whatever you get in DBSAT per se for individual database, here you are getting for your entire multiple targets or multiple databases, and you can click and you can go and see in detail. So that's more about the assessment. So you have a single view and you can manage multiple, know security posture of your enterprise at one place. This dashboard, we added one tab that's Audit Insight. So you have a summary data available here, and then you have targets, top user, top privilege user, client, sensitive object, etc. So I didn't run that particular set, so that's why it's saying no activity on this. You can have this this particular dashboard by target as well as by data. So this is showing data from last 24 hours, or let's say if I want to see data from last month, so this will change. And if I say, okay, I just want to see for particular targets, so this will further get modified. Okay, so you can do these slicing and dicing on this particular Audit Insight. The other part is in policy. You come to the, like I mentioned, we added data discovery new page. So let's say I add new privilege user set. I say PI set, and I describe that. I add on which list of targets I want to discover it. So the moment I select the target, it lists down all my privileged users. Okay, so if I want to remove certain privileged user, I can do that. If I want to have more from the discovered activity and it is not there, I can select those users and add here. So HC1 is added here. It was not there by default. So I can remove these users, multiple users, and let's say I can just remove them and just add some few of them. And then I just say save. So PI privileged user set is created for me. I can go and see what all users are there. And then similarly, you add for sensitive object. Again, I'm saying that I want to add for PI. So there are categories that we select by default. You can come and remove those categories also, and there are sets that categories we do not select by default, but if you are, let's say, healthcare provider, you can select by default. You can select in your environment. You can remove certain categories here if you do not want to do discovery on those data. And then we list down all the privilege, all the objects where we feel that these categories of sensitive data are residing. Same thing, you can remove if you want certain object, or you can add from the discovered data if you want. You can add that which was not there earlier, so you can do that. And once you do this particular activity, you save, and another set is created. That's a PI set. And then finally, you can have your database.
So we got to wrap it up here. We got a couple questions and we're at the top of the hour.
Sure. So we just, then you define your policy on the statement class, etc. And these sets you can use in normal policy also in the database firewall. Okay. Yeah, so let's take questions. I think, yeah, I took a lot of time.
It's okay. We'll see if we can get these answered real quick.
Yeah.